just want you all to understand, because we know that you're looking at high level of governance. Just want to help understand that EMC has provided benefit to the city over the last 5 years, and in particular, over this last year, EMC has paid $263,949 to the city. A majority of that is a sizable property claim, so replacing a number of these. And then a couple of open claims for auto, one public officials claim that was discussed a little bit earlier tonight. So EMC has provided, not only good service on the account, but of the premium they've taken in, they've paid out a significant amount in the amount of claims. Written premiums at $93,000. Again, this year they're going to pay out about $264,000 in claims. So, wanted to start with that information. Any questions before we move into coverages line by line? Can I just ask for general council feedback? Do you want me to go line by line and explain coverages and properties? I don't want to.
Council people.
I don't necessarily need to, but Corey may want it, so.
No, I mean, I don't need to, I've already heard it. And I think are we gonna be discussing this in a couple weeks anyways,
Yeah.
I think so.
possibly?
So we'll go to the last page.
Okay. There are a number of coverage differences that, as you consider and evaluate your decision, I know a couple have already heard some of those, but there's significant differences: property valuations, property blankets, cyber limits, workers' compensation setup, equipment breakdown. There's a number of things that, when they come up in the form of claims, you will want to be aware, just as a buyer, what some of those differences are, and we're happy to present those once you see your final proposal and compare back and forth. If you do go to the last page, you will see, $1,000 umbrella. Yeah, final page is going to show the premiums year over year. So you'll see expiring policy premiums on the left. You'll see renewing policy premiums on the right-hand side. And then in the bottom portion, you're going to see the dividends that EMC has paid back out throughout the years for you being a part of the IAMU program. Now, there is significant jumps on some of these lines, so just a little overview. Property, you're seeing a significant increase. Part of that is driven, but the other part is when you have the sizable loss on property, EMC comes out, they're working with every city and county that they write across the state and school districts and looking at property values. Just based on material and labor prices increasing significantly, EMC puts your property coverage blanket limit of insurance. Meaning that if you don't have enough coverage on one building, there's damage, and your limit of insurance is exceeded, you're able to pull from your blanket limit from other buildings to make sure you don't have an out-of-pocket expense on the repair or replacement of a building. In doing so, they need to make sure that their values are in line on buildings, so there's enough blanket limit. So your property premium increase, which is the most sizable percentage-wise by far, a big portion of that is not just rate increase, but it's valuation increase.
I have just one question.
Sure.
Is there anything can be done to reduce that significant increase?
For the property specifically. So last year we looked at deductible options. We have a $5,000 all or per occurrence deductible on there now. So we could certainly look at, other options for increasing that, going to a $10,000 out of pocket or $25,000. Cities do that. My only hesitation, transparently, is, you had the one loss over this past year where they replaced all the roofs, and in that instance, you're gonna have, additional out-of-pocket expense. So it's easy for us to come and lower your premium up front and really trying to sell you on that idea, but there's out-of-pocket expense that the city's going to incur in the event of a loss, so.
Okay, I just want the council to reveal that there's possible reducing the problem, that you see that significant increase.
So is that something that we're willing to, I would be willing to look at, I think we should be able to at least look at it and see what it would change, but I know I don't like having a high deductible on my insurance, so I pay more in my premium to keep that low. So I understand that, but I think at least looking at it,
I like the way it's at, because that's kinda, after we done, what we're gonna end it. We're gonna inform the council member Cooley here that he wasn't at the meeting, what the result, what happened with the utility, and if Cooley is okay with. Maybe we can get that thing, how can we take, it? Are we willing to look at it? I say yes, okay, so
Sure.
that's something we'd like to see when we get to the conclusion of this.
Sure. Absolutely.
Thank you.
You bet. A number of these other items, I mean, you can kind of gauge what some of the increases are for. I think the reality, one thing I want to state is, again, every city and every county and every school district, just based on the exposure, is seeing significant increases. So I promise the rate increase or what you're seeing year over year is not specific to EMC. It truly is the market, and it truly is every city. So you can get feedback from others on what they're seeing. We feel like this is the best proposal to keep the city for coverage reasons, for service reasons. That again, there's going to be an extension requested. You're going to potentially consider an ICAP proposal a couple weeks from now. I want you guys to make what the decision that's in the best interest of the city, and I know you will do that. So one thing to consider is you're going to review the numbers. There's a service component, so that's highlighted on the front page. I really do think Janice is the best person to be the agent on this account. I've seen her work, and I've seen the great relationship she has with the city, so I'm pretty adamant on that I do feel she is the best fit for the city. The other thing to consider, just again out of transparency, is it's a little bit unique for us to be in kind of a competitive bid process and for us to come with our information when it's requested. And now this is public record for somebody else who's going to look to submit a proposal a couple weeks from now. All this information covering will be readily available. So if you think about other bids, if you're doing a bid to construct a building and you have a request by date and project start dates 2 weeks later, and all the information is public, but someone says, well, can I get a couple week extension to get you my final bid? All of a sudden they can see all pricing and coverage. So for whatever that's worth, I did feel that we should state that tonight. It's a little bit unique. We want to continue to retain your account and be on your business long term. And I know you guys ultimately want to make the right decision for the city, and you'll do that. So for whatever that's worth, those are our thoughts this evening.
So I have said numerous people have contacted Janice on the issues, and just a day or two ago, she got an answer right away from me. So it means a lot. And what have you paid out in hail damage? Just a lot.
Yeah, 263,000 is total claims for the city this year. They took in 93,000 of premium. A couple of claims were auto. Yeah, it looks like total was for properties about 230,000 for new gross for properties.
So I got a stupid question. Does this get shared with the utilities?
No, that's.
This is just a.
and I'd just like to say one thing. I know we got, the utilities gave an extension, and I was sitting in that meeting, and I don't think that would have happened. It was interesting that they were saying that they weren't getting the information as they needed to.
Sure.
Okay, and that's unfortunate. Wherever the breakdown is. We had one person say, they had an objection to releasing that information, and then they go on and say, well, it's public record, so just go. And it's like, well, it's public record, you should have no objection. That objection should never have come, because if that objection comes up, this release that.
Sure.
And that's unfortunate. Because I feel as a council, I can't speak for any other body, that it is our duty to get different proposals from whoever, 2, 3, who knows, who knows what's the right one. And of course you want to keep our business, I understand that, of course, they probably want to have our business, I understand. I mean, I would be in the same, but if I wouldn't be in business, right? So I just want that to be said, that I don't think it was a plan by any other company to wait for you to do this.
Sure.
I think they somehow, whatever happened, they weren't given the information, whatever.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if this happens, if we, when we come into the next year, like I said, maybe we start this in January, we get plenty of time so we don't have this
Sure.
here.
And just for clarity, just so council is aware, when we had the information request come to our team, that information was delivered either that day or the following day. So the delay was not.
Yeah, and I
Right.
have no idea, I'm not gonna,
I think he's right. I think if the information that was needed was delivered, I don't think the extension would have been there. I think you both would be presenting with actual quotes for
Sure.
us. So I think it's not on their part that they're asking for an extension. Because I think Corey didn't get to hear it, but they declined because they weren't able to get the information. And somebody from the utility board asked for them to go ahead and proceed and to try to get that information. So we're not even clear that they're gonna be able to. But wherever the breakdown was, it happened, and had it not happened, they probably would be up here giving the quote also.
Sure.
And while I thank Denise for her work, I mean, Danielle is a part of our community also, and I think that she would, either way we go, both would be able to give the same amount of.
So I'm kind of confused. So if we're separate from the utilities, what difference does it make what happens?
You got, I said we gotta keep basically saying insurance. don't we?
No, you don't have to. I think, I just want Corey to with utility because to see it a little bit different.
I don't believe ICAP, I work with both EMC and ICAP pretty extensively. ICAP, I'm almost positive, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe they will write the utility without it being both city and utility, which is why.
So it's gonna be one policy
Okay.
versus
Yes.
two separate.
Two policies, but ICAP will not agree to get on the utilities without the city.
okay.
Okay, makes
And
sense now.
And
Okay.
while we're on that, I'm gonna come to the conclusion that Mike and Christina was there. So before they talk, I'm gonna save your time, so.
Go for it.
They already, as you have, will not be able to submit a code tonight. We made the decision to wait until the next special meeting. We're gonna have it on the 27th.
Mhm.
That's correct. So what the utility did is they approved that proposal that you received from EMC, subject to ICAP responding to us. They should respond to us in the next,
We should know by tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
the next couple of
Yeah.
days.
Whether get that
They will
information.
say, we can really submit proposal to you, or we won't be able to do it this year.
Oh, okay.
So they go from now.
Because at
So-
first they declined,
Yeah.
because they weren't given enough time and enough information to do what they needed to do.
Sure.
And the utility board, I believe it was
Kim.
Kim Avey asked
Yes.
for them to do it. So if, we follow suit and we wanna make sure that we see both policies, apples to apples. And they didn't ask for any, there was a couple questions that they had to clarify, but they didn't need any more information, is that correct?
Very much the good shape. So we will find
Makes
out
sense.
from them if it's gonna go for to that special meeting we're gonna have or not.
Gotcha.
Because their company may not be able to go
Yeah.
forward.
Oh, sure. Gotcha.
So we would make
Makes
the
sense.
same type of a motion.
If is that what you like,
The motion was that we would approve the EMC
yes.
contingent upon hearing a proposal, if any,
Yeah.
from Town and Country or ICAP or however you say
We
it.
And I
just have to talk to.
Mike, I would like to add one thing, which is, we work on the property. To
Yes.
see what can we do, because it's a significant increase.
So you're gonna work with Chip to, right?
No, Chip on the utility side. That has nothing to do with this. So we already done with his, Chip, we
I
did
know,
that
but
one
is Chip
thing.
gonna work with you? Oh, so never mind.
Yeah.
Got you.
So I just feel like we can do something about that, 20 to 40, that.
Go back to EMC and ask for deductible options.
Yes.
My question, I guess, or just some guidance is, what level of savings would you need to see in premium to go from 5,000 to 10,000. Because again, just this last year, had we made that decision, you're paying an additional 5,000 out of pocket. So if we saved 2,500 doing that, we would have put the city in a bad position increasing the deductible. So I'm happy to show you any options you want. I just want some guidance on what would be beneficial for the city.
Twenty to 40, it's kind of like, that's a lot, you know, kind of.
Can I state the obvious? We started this meeting with Jim coming to the council, asking for an increase in pricing for gravel because the
Yeah.
gravel is going up so
Yes.
significantly.
Yes,
That's what all property
I know.
expenses are doing across the board. And in order for an insurance company to rebuild in the case of a loss for any of your buildings, you need to make sure the coverage is there to do that. So the pricing increase on property is to make sure that there's enough valuation to replace your buildings if something happens. Replace your generators, replace the plant out there, the utility plant that runs everything. There's large treatment plant is,
And I don't think we're looking for a
Exorbitantly
reduction in
expensive now.
coverage,
Sure.
just how much do we want to, like I said, do I wanna pay 500 out of my pocket or 1,000? And if that savings in my premium, is that gonna be enough to justify that?
Yep.
So, for me, when I called Danielle about my car, I said, run some scenarios for me.
Yeah.
So I had to see it, I couldn't say, well, this amount here,
Sure.
you know, but when she brought the numbers back, wow, $3, never mind.
Sure.
You know, so I think in our case, that's kind of what we need to see is just see some numbers.
Yep.
You know, and then we can say, you know, 2,000 to raise it 5,
Yep.
I don't know, probably not, you know, I don't know.
That's very much, very well said, very well said. That's very much what I just hope to add it to that motion. If
Yeah.
they go ahead and approve and all this stuff, we're fine.
Fine with me.
But we just get this little scenario, like Mike said, to see what our options is.
Sure.
Just a few, you know, what,
Yeah.
5, 10, 15, something like that, just,
I hope,
Sure.
you know, something, whatever you got,
Sure.
you know?
Yep. Happy to.
Okay,
Okay,
right, so
You want,
you gotta make a motion.
yeah, I'll second it.
Okay.
Moved by Cobble, second by Renzo, how you vote, Patrick?
Yes.
Cobble.
Yes,
Renzo.
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you
very
both.
much.
Thank you
Appreciate
both
it.
for
Yeah,
being
that
part
takes
of that
both
effort.
nice.
Okay, so then,
So the last one.
do I get him off? Go get your hobby.
he's always on phone.
Wow. I'm gonna say,
We just take it.
Right over there.
Right
2 hours later.
Or Mike didn't even know what we said.
I'm always getting
Moved by Johnson. I think Matt has worked with Mike and he came to the conclusion that Mike has done everything he needs to be doing. And we are at the point that if you don't have any questions, we just move.
I don't have any questions, as long as all the boxes.
And I hope everybody driven past that house.
It's beautiful. You guys done good work on it.
It's going to
I just
ask
wish
for a motion.
Sometime you could keep doing some more.
We have a motion by Calvo.
I'll second it.
Second by Kirkpatrick, okay, how do you vote, Kirkpatrick?
Yes.
Cobble?
yes.
Renzo?
Yep,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mike.
guys.
Good job, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll sell you the one on the
Okay.
south side of town, how'd that be?
What's that?
We'll sell you the one over here on the south side of town.
Okay.
Public forum.
Too late for
Oh my gosh, that one by the desk?
The one by the park, my grandma's.
Oh, your grandma.
Yeah.
No, we will not, because our daughter wants it.
I
And
want
she
it.
probably hanging from a tree and
Anybody have
Thank
anything?
you.
Thank you.
Just real quick, sir. I just want to follow up a little bit on the remark made about Matt and my meeting with Iowa National Heritage Foundation. And I've not talked to any people involved. There's a lot of pieces in the air with the parkland donation. But the point they made was that My primary interest was being able to use that donation of land to the city to leverage other grants. And they said, if the city already has the land, you're done. It's like spending money and then asking for a grant for the money. And what they suggested is they have a system set up where the donor could donate the land with the conditions to the Natural Heritage Foundation. Then when the city's ready to go forward, say with bike trail to Redfield, which I'm just super excited about Josh's proposal. I think that's a dream come true and would be really an awesome thing for the city of Stuart, quality of life wise and economically. So I applaud you for showing Josh some support for that, because I think that's a really wonderful opportunity. But I just want to make you aware of that. We're still kicking around how this is all going to all together. Thanks for your
Thank you.
support for the community. I think good things are happening.
Anybody else have anything?
I kind of do.
Go ahead. You gotta come up to the
I'm not going to.
No, go ahead.
So,
We can't afford to make like that. Go
I'm
ahead.
not coming to the microphone. So I also work for an insurance company, so I can't have this conversation happen without defending these poor people. This should have been a sealed bid, and everybody should be on the same playing field. It would be like accepting mowing bids, where Josh turned in a quote, and then you let whoever 2-week
Completely agree.
extension. So I say this conversation, like, you handle it next year. You renew with these lovely people.
Yes.
There's a thing called acquisition pricing where a new carrier will come in lower and then you're gonna pay for it at renewal. So you need to keep all that in mind.
We don't know that they even are gonna.
Understood. And they declined it, and that should be their answer. You can't say, I'll give you 2 more weeks to figure it out. That's totally not fair. They just laid all their cards on the table.
That's utilities.
Okay,
And what we followed, but it's.
but they just laid all their numbers
No,
on
I
the table.
completely get it.
Okay,
Okay.
I see what you're
I
saying.
think it's
No, I completely get it. It's hard.
Because who's to say that their competitors won't come back and say, here's these numbers?
well, and it's in the packet. Like, it's in the, all of their numbers are in the packet. You just gave it to their competitor to write a better quote. Not okay. Not to scold all of you, but not okay.
Oh, I'm used to it.
I know, you're
Did you see that the full list, Corey, did you see the full list of the code enforcement within your packet?
Yes,
So you know what you're getting for your buck?
yes. It was kind of hard to read there.
It was hard to read,
Yeah.
but it was
Second
in there.
page was like,
Yeah, I saw it.
whoa.
Oh, I thought it was-
I need another printer, okay?
I wear this at work all day. So that's all the information you get.
I'm not complaining about it. No, I'm not complaining. No.
And,
Just send it to
Mine too, but he gave it to me like that, so I'm wearing.
just so everybody knows, we do have the town Friday, May 5th, and Saturday, May 6th. The FFA Kids Will Help, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Friday, and 8 a.m. 3 p.m. Saturday. The Stuart Street Maintenance Yard, and it's a very good program. We've done quite a few years. And I'll get, you want this, Marcus?
Yeah.
I think Bob's gonna be.
Bring all your goodies.
Yeah, and what I'm gonna do is go around some of the code enforcement places we have and personally hand these out. I did that last year and people did show up. I told them, if you don't show up, I'll be coming to your place and cleaning you.
Hey, 2 trucks per address, correct?
That's what, yeah.
And no buildings that you cut down with a chainsaw.
Well, it shouldn't be, but, so Marcus, so you know too, they take appliances and washers and freezers and stuff, but the utilities have, that if you have an appliance that's still running, you can go get a form from the utilities, and the guy will come to your place as long as it's plugged in and working, and they'll give you around $25 for the appliance.
I don't think they do that
They
anymore.
don't?
No, Citgo has changed.
They did?
It was costing them
I just
money
did it
now, so
not that long ago.
you got
Okay.
in on it before
Okay.
it stopped.
Okay,
Okay.
but anyway, this is it. Molly takes all the appliances and recycles them. Anybody else have anything?
No.
Long night.
Oh, it's been 2 hours. Now you can go get something.